Entitlement reaches all walks of life, as you'll find out in this episode of Entitled People. Our first one is from Alexandra22217. First time posting here, but I am pissed. I work at a restaurant, one of those local small cutesy bistros that's not super upscale, but usually fully booked because we're in an awesome location and don't have many tables. We recently had a woman email us saying that she wants to bring her boyfriend here to celebrate a very special event. I won't say what, to not make it too personal. It's not unusual to receive more detailed table requests for special occasions every now and then. It can range from booking a whole seating area for privacy to asking to put up some decor, etc. This lady didn't really ask for much. She just asked if she could pay up front to have a more secluded decorated table. We love these kind of reservations when people ask nicely and are realistic about it. We closed off a little corner of the restaurant. Nothing crazy. It's still open to the rest, but in a little nook that you couldn't see into, and put up some string lights, candles, and flowers. She also came in earlier that night to put up something of her own. Again, I don't want to say what, but it was clearly a personal item. Well, the night of, the couple arrives, gives me their last name, and of course I know immediately who they are, and happily lead them over to their very special table. Only to find an old lady and a little kid sitting there with their belongings all over the damn place. Turns out they thought the "please wait to be seated" sign, the "closed for private events" sign, and the "reserved" sign somehow did not apply to them. They barged right past everything when no one was looking. There were only two of us working the tables that night because the place is small, and sure enough, simply claimed the only free table. Now, some people just have zero awareness, so part of me had to assume that maybe they were a little slow. I tried to confront them nicely, even though I was panicking with the couple right behind me. But oh boy, that older lady knew exactly what she was doing and immediately blew up about no one tending to their table and making them wait. I explained that this table was reserved and that they needed to leave and that the whole place was fully booked. She explained to me, loudly, that she did not care, that the other restaurants on our block were full, and that her and her grandson have every right to be here. It took a lot of arguing between them and me and my coworkers, but when we threatened to call the police to have them removed, she gave up. Unfortunately, most of the damage was already done. It left everyone in a pretty sour mood, and to make matters even worse, the kid had tampered with the sweet woman's personal item she had put up there right before. It wasn't a valuable, just a cute little surprise. The couple looked pretty upset, and while they didn't blame us for anything, I could just tell how close to tears the woman was. The surprise she had planned was a pretty big deal, and I simply felt awful for her. I've always heard stories about having to deal with crazy people in the service industry, but this was a first for me. I'm just a student doing this some nights a week for some extra cash. My absolute deepest condolences to anyone dealing with this shit for a living. Talk about an entitled Karen that you know has gone through most of her life with very little consequences for her actions. I definitely feel bad for that couple though. It's a shame they had to have their special event ruined by such an entitled Karen. And our final one is by Pookie1028. Hubby was very sick. Had to take him to the ER after he passed out from dehydration from an intestinal bug he'd been dealing with for a few days. On the way, he calls his job to let them know. We park in the ER garage and get a little ticket that the ER validates for you. He's brought back, immediately given fluids and meds, taken back for a CT scan, etc. We found out later a coworker who was pissy she was going to be shorthanded took it upon herself to somehow find our address and later drive over to our apartment to check to see if hubby is really sick. She sees our upstairs neighbor walking, who vaguely resembles my hubby. Both 6'3", light brown hair, similar builds. He's 15 years younger though, and has his infant son with him. Our kids are in their late 20s, early 30s. She goes back to work and tells the boss that we lied about being sick as she saw him at insert time, walking around outside perfectly fine. The next morning, boss calls hubby and lets him know he's going to be written up for calling out under false pretense and causing staffing issues. After pressing him for info, he tells us about what the coworker did. Hubby tells boss that, firstly, we have proof that we were in the ER at the time the coworker said she saw him, and secondly, that he's filing an HR complaint on both the coworker and the manager, as there isn't any rule about why anyone can call out, and why the hell is a coworker at our house spying on us? In our state, management isn't allowed to inquire about your health, nor are they allowed to let you tell them about your health issues. Manager starts getting defensive and states if we can give him proof, then he'll excuse it. Hubby says, "You'll get your proof," and hangs up. He immediately calls HR and lets them know what happened, and we provide them the time-stamped parking ticket and part of the discharge paperwork from the ER showing what time we arrived and left. The next week, an email is sent out notifying all employees and management about the law concerning sick time, and also a separate notification that employees are not to be following, spying on, or otherwise contacting other employees outside of the office regarding work, time off, etc. Hubby was called into a meeting with the manager, the department head, and the female employee. The manager and the employee were both absolutely roasted by the department head. The only thing the employee had to say was that the person she saw looked like my hubby, and she was just angry about the situation. And the manager's excuse was that the female employee had been there a long time, so he trusted her when she told him. When I asked how she got our address, come to find out, manager lets her in his computer regularly, and she had been privy to other employees' private info for some time. Department head said hubby was free to go with his profound apologies. We found out later employee was fired and manager was demoted and moved to a different department. So I guess I'm trying to figure this out. If they were already short-handed because OP's hubby missed work, then why the hell would that coworker decide to also leave them short-handed another person to pretend to go play spy? It doesn't really sound that logical to me, but then again, a lot of people that want to pull this shit really don't use logic. Funny that it cost them their job though. Alright, that's enough entitlement for the day. Well, that wraps up this episode of Entitled People. If you liked the video, please drop a like, share my content on all of your social media, subscribe if you haven't already, and make sure to hit that bell so you're notified every time I upload, and drop a comment down below. It really helps with the algorithm and helps new people find my channel. Thanks for watching, thanks to my patrons and super thanks contributors. Have a great day and stay safe out there.